for a lot of women, they do get married and it's the first time of an experience with their new husband. And for them, obviously the body may not be ready as yet, and it's painful. Penetration is painful. I know you've defined it as 369, but what advice would you give to women to get prepared in terms of their first encounters?
So I think that if your pelvic floor muscles are nice and strong, exercise is really, really important, because when your pelvic floor muscles are stronger, you're able to control your body better, basically. I think that to understand that there will be certain positions, so you have to learn how to adjust your body to make sure that you get past the pain points, because it is painful. Understand that using a good lubricant is extremely important, and not just a little bit, not just, oh, let me just, I mean, really go for it. Lots of lubricant. It is absolutely essential, because like I said, no matter how aroused or excited you get, the moment you feel the pain, it's a natural reaction. The brain says, oops, something is wrong. You dry up immediately. Yeah, you clench, you dry up. I think it is extremely important also to understand that the initial bit of penetration, if it's really, really painful getting past that bend, get it just to there. Make it shallow. There's lots of thrusting techniques that the Kama Sutra talks about, which are only about shallow thrusting. Absolutely okay. Use your fingers. Put your fingers inside. You put 2 fingers nicely, chopped off nails, making sure that there's nothing there that could hurt you. Put lube, put your fingers inside, and just get used to the idea of something going inside. And a lot of women will tell you that when they put their fingers in, they're fine, it doesn't hurt, but when the penis goes in, it hurts. It's just because when you're putting your fingers in, you're on your own and you adjust your body according to what is needed. When you're with a partner, you think it has to be done a certain way. Just learn that it's the same idea about adjusting your body to get to that point. And it's about relaxing the brain. So a lot of people tense up. When something hurts, you tense up and then you become even tighter. So Anvita, Dr. Anvita Madan Behel, who's a relational and psychosexual therapist that I work with, she always says that when you find that penetration is a problem and you're breathing through it, actually do your breathing techniques. So you should always try the penetration when you breathe out. So a lot of people have this thing about deep breath. No. It's when you're breathing out, because at that point the body automatically relaxes. And finally, I know a lot of people do Kegel exercises to make sure that their perineum, the muscles down there, are nice and firm, because the perineum does become lazy over time. I think it's really important that, with the Kegel exercises or with the pelvic floor exercises, you'd say, okay, tighten it so that it feels like you're taking the lift up to the first floor, second floor, third floor. That's fine. People do that bit. But you also have to learn how to then bring it down. Bring it down. Learn how to untighten it to the 4th floor, 3rd floor. Go down to the basement where you totally let it go. So it's not just about tightening, it's also about understanding how that muscle moves.
Amazing advice, Seema. I'd like to call you Dr. Seema right now. And it's like you do really tell amazing stories. A few more questions, because this is even a learning for me as a health coach. And I'm actually going to go back to my team and say, splice this part and keep it ready. So when a couple is counseling, I'm like, okay, this part, what Seema said, we got to play it to them. But Seema, I get a lot of people, especially women clients, nowadays who are coming in because for various reasons a lot of women are hitting maybe perimenopause earlier. It's the stress, it's the chemicals in our food chain, it's the click culture of WhatsApp that is causing this artificial stress, which maybe 100 years ago did not exist. Women didn't have that sort of stress. They had a stress of, will they have a meal to provide the family, how to cook the meal or take care of the kids. So it's changed a lot. So those struggling with low libido or sex drive, or they have intimacy challenges, where can they start somewhere on their journey? Like, for example, if I have a breathing problem, I first acknowledge that I've got a blocked nose today. So I need to take care of my blocked nose. So what is it that I need to do? So I'll write down 5-6 things. I'll go and check Google, find out. What is your guidance as a person who deals with sexual wellness, and what you advise both men and women on this low libido issue.
Okay, so we come into our adult lives with decades, no, generations, hundreds of years of DNA memory, which has told us that sex is a bad thing. So we come into our understanding of our adult life with this background information saying this is a bad thing, this is a sin, this is the original sin, that you should feel guilty about it, etc. So we're already predisposed to feeling weird about sex. Okay, we've been told over and over again that this is bad, this is horrible, you shouldn't be doing it. And then you get married and you have an official partner, and then overnight you're supposed to change how you feel. And that's not an easy transition to make. So there is already a predisposition to the problems around sex. And like I said, hence the only time that it feels exciting is when it is under the, the non-valid section. So cheating or doing this, on the sly, because that's what's actually lifting up your adrenaline, this idea of doing something forbidden. So we already have this issue that we come in with. I think, like you said, if you have a breathing issue, you have to first say that you have a breathing issue. If you find that there is a problem with the way that you're facing sex, you need to be able to acknowledge that. A lot of people I know will not actually acknowledge that. They'll say, "Nahi, it's nothing like that. It's just that I'm really tired." I understand that people get tired, and I understand that when you're tired, that's definitely not what you want to be doing, is having sex. But it isn't the whole truth. Because I've discovered that when I really like something, when something gives me pleasure, I will find a way to do it. So
Like even if you're tired, you'll go shopping.
Yeah, when I go shopping, when I'm not tired, I'd be like, okay, today I'm exhausted and the weather is really bad. Okay, I'm going first thing in the morning. Or one of my favorite things at home is to watch, I love watching old murder mysteries, not the new ones, but the old style, the Murder, She Wrote kind of thing. I would sometimes go to bed really late and I would put it on before I go to bed and then find that I'm falling asleep, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it, so I'll turn it off. But with the proviso in my head that I'm coming back to it tomorrow when I'm feeling full of energy. Okay? I want people to be thinking like that about their intimacy. Like, I want to come back to it when I'm feeling energetic, not like, okay, I'm really tired, let me just make an excuse. Tomorrow I'll think of another excuse. So we first have to figure out that, okay, there's an issue. The second thing is that it was clearly not pleasurable, hence you don't want it now. Because if something was good, there is a desire to come back to it. And this is why I always say, figure out for yourself what would make it pleasurable for you. Because only you can decide what will make it pleasurable for you. Your partner can't. And then incorporate that.
Thank you for watching this far. It's been an amazing episode and I'm so grateful to have you till the end. If you like this video, please share this video with your loved ones. Better still, gift me a subscribe, a like, or even a comment and we'll come back to you.